This is Joe with Ohio Woodburner. We're making firewood today, guys. I have the live deck loaded up with logs. I got the Japa gassed up, and we're going to process probably about a half a cord, maybe a little bit more, into the dump trailer. So let me show you our setup. It's a bright sunshiny day, which if you're from Ohio, we're not used to this. So of course, the first thing I do is I put up a canopy. And I usually avoid putting the canopy up when we're filming because I think the lighting doesn't work well. So I thought today I'm just going to give you the real way that I process. Usually sunny days I'm under a roof. It just makes me feel like I can relax better and not be in such a big hurry. But my setup, I have my wheelbarrows out. I use this wheelbarrow for offcuts. I keep all my equipment in here, all my extra knives. My dump trailer is underneath the infeed. You know, this is not the ideal setup for me. Our plan is to get all of this moved, you know, to the back 40. But obviously our wet summer has affected all that. So we're real behind on that. But for now, this is how I've been loading the trailer. When my pile gets too tall, I can speed the conveyor up or I can slow it down. But we can get the trailer loaded up pretty good with this 14-foot outfeed. Come on over here. This is the Honda 690, and I always check the oil before I start it up. My next project, I have the adapter. I'm going to make an outlet so that I'm not getting all this sawdust blown all over the place. But it does shoot into the garbage can pretty good. But still, that's just less work that I can make for myself. This is the 14-foot outfeed. It's got a variable control on it. I can speed it up or slow it down. You can also turn it off. And it's got a external oil cooler on it. It keeps the oil. I can't remember the temperature it's set at, but it works off of a thermostat. Kicks on and off when it needs to. I'm going to be processing these logs with a 6-way knife because they're a little bit bigger. I have the 4-way in right now. And this is a hydraulically controlled knife, which is very nice. To change it out, you put it in its lowest position and pull the pin. And then pull it out and then put the 6-way in. The big addition with our Japa Firewood Processor was the live deck. This is the Japa 471 live deck. It is heavy duty, guys. It's got two chain in feed, and it holds easily a half cord, but man, it really speeds up my process. And I'm not saying that the old log lift I had was, you know, was no good. It was very good. And the reason I got this processor was it was a big processor, but it still had the log lift, which a lot of your bigger, you know, processors, you got to have a Bobcat, some way to get the logs loaded up. But Japa and Metsa Machines was nice enough to bring down this live deck to have me try it out, and man, it's an amazing invention. Where has this thing been all my life? I can get a half cord of firewood processed in about a half hour. That's, you know, after the log deck's been loaded up. That's how much faster it's made production. We are just now into August, and I am not comfortable with my level of production. We just had a weird summer with all this rain. It has slowed down the trucks bringing me in more logs. So I just feel like I'm behind. My plan is to just run this table, and we're going to get it stacked this evening. I got other bigger logs that I have bucked up that we'll be splitting with the axes. But for today, guys, we're running the Firewood Processor. Sit back and enjoy the show. This log's pretty crooked. It's a cherry log. Seems the more that you work with this, you learn right away what you can and can't get away with. But I think I can get this one to go. When I can tell they're a little bit too crooked, I just get them with the saw and we run them through the splitter. This is another crooked one, and it's got a big fork on the end of it. So my thought was, I set it on the live deck this way, so if this end is not cut, I'll just throw it out. So this one has gotten jammed. Sometimes the log just won't go through, but they're real easy to clear. So I pick the log up in the air with the knife and then just drive down on it with a sledgehammer and it pops right off. And I usually just turn it. So this is my offcut. Went right to plan. That'll go into my woodshed. Nothing gets wasted here, guys. This is an oak log. It was just in my way. When I process logs, I keep all my species together. So I was doing cherry and maple. They're both getting stacked on each side of my pile. But this oak log got in here and we're just gonna put it in the middle of it, but I'll be able to sort it when we're stacking. If I get a log that comes off the top of the knife and it's too big, I just pick it out and I run it through again for a second time. I just know this log's not going to split. It's got too many knots in it. I just pull it out and throw it over to the axis. It'll slow the conveyor down so that the logs will fall on this side of that pile. It just helps me when I'm stacking. A lot of you guys ask about the hood on the Japa. So the hood is the main safety feature. When the hood is raised, it kills the hydraulics on the dangerous stuff, the splitter, the chain. So let me show you how that works. This is the override for the splitter. So the splitter comes out. If you lift the hood, it stops the splitter. The same thing for the saw. When you're cutting, when you raise the hood, it stops the chain, and that's your protection for it. You know, the same with, like, I mean, if you overrode the safety features on this, man, if that chain broke, it's right on you. The same thing with the way that this ram comes out. You know, if you're reaching for a log in here, you can accidentally hook your shirt on this, and man, that would just be ugly. So I support all the safety features on the Japa. The live deck's got two cool features. It's got this separator wheel, and it has these isolators, and this helps you not feed two logs at the same time. So I'm going to run this log up, and I'm going to run the chain backwards. It creates space between these two logs, and allows me to feed one. Watch this. So this next log's going to have an offcut. It's going to be longer than 16 inches. So I have a tape measure on the back, and I run the back of the log up to the 16-inch line. This is it right here. So now I will cut this off, and I'll be left with a 16-inch log, and this part will be my offcut. Offcut, 16 inches. Works out good. And this is how you split it. You hit your manual override. And now you're ready for your next log. Okay, so we're gonna let the engine run. The oil cooler is running. If I turn it off, it'll run off of battery power. We're gonna let the engine run until the oil temperature drops, the fan will shut off, and then we'll look at our pile here. I think there's something not just physical, but psychological about the live deck. Man, having all those logs off the ground, ready to go into the infeed, it's just a great feeling. You can just zip right through all these logs. And you know, I got a huge pile. It's in what I call my wheelbarrow, my dump trailer, and I can just truck this out to the drying yard and get it stacked. The weather's turning in our favor. The ground is firm. I can get my truck and trailer out there and not get stuck in the mud. Get this stacked, get my live deck loaded up again, and I can do it all over and just make a lot of firewood here fast. So I got a full, this is a half cord of firewood. That's how much sawdust a half cord makes. And you know, I do have some that gets splattered around the sides. I keep that tarp underneath it. It helps me keep the underside of the machine cleaned out. But I think once I get that pipe installed, it'll be a lot cleaner and neater and less work for me. And there you go, guys. That was a lot of firewood fast. You know, I had made this decision when I first decided to go full-time into firewood, to go the route of the processor. It is just faster and it's easier on me. It may not be the cheapest way to go, because I think, you know, you can still make money, and a lot of money, with a log splitter, but there's more physical labor involved, and I'm trying to do this by myself. So I'm still glad that I went this route. But you can see, you can make a lot of firewood fast, man. It's going to take me longer to stack that than it did to make it. So I do think the day will come. I need to come up with a way of handling my firewood, you know, in bulk and stacking it either in bags or whatever. It seems like any time I do some number crunching on it, it makes better sense to hire a high school kid to stack my wood for me. Okay. But I hope that you enjoyed this video because I know it was a lot of fun to make. If you ever get a chance to run one of these Japas, take advantage of it. And they're out there at a lot of the trade shows. They are just a lot of fun to run. If you haven't done so, hit that like button. And remember, we post videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And I hope that everyone has a great day.